Welcome to TheatreCast, presented by the EdReach Network, giving educators a voice, a big voice. You've reached episode number 65, being recorded October 26, 2014. This is the show where theater teachers and professionals share their passion for theater trends, share practical advice and tips, and ask questions of some of theater's most innovative collaborators. I'm one of your co-hosts, Nick Cusumano. I am a theater and film teacher located in St. Louis, Missouri. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Miss Danielle Filas.
Greetings, everybody, from the wonderful Ohio, Buckeye State. Go Buckeyes.
And I'm going to turn it over to Danielle to introduce our host, since...
also in the Buckeye State.
Also in the same town, but not in the same room.
I know, we never get to see each other, but this is sadly...
Even though we're in the same city.
But it gives me really great pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Catherine Rinella, who has, in addition to having saved my theatrical bacon many times, she is a renowned producer, sound engineer, voice actor, and all around good egg. And still, even though I don't think you really do this anymore, one of the best stage managers I ever worked with.
Oh, that was all for you.
It was tremendous. It's a serious theatrical bacon saving. And you know, when you find a good stage manager, you sort of hold on to them like grim death. But Catherine, why don't you tell us about some of the projects that you're working on now? Namely, the most exciting one maybe you can talk about to me is Midnight Audio Theater. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Midnight Audio Theater is a audio drama program, a show that that I produced for WCBE 90.5 FM in Columbus. That is the Central Ohio's NPR station. And we, over the past about 3 or 4 years now, we've been working on bringing both new and original audio dramas from like the last 10 years to most recent to light on the air to share with people. And also we've been working on trying to produce a lot of original pieces and get more writers and actors and people in Columbus involved in the art of audio drama.
It's really fun. And can you talk a little bit about what got you into that? How did you get involved?
Gosh, you want the long answer or the short answer?
Baby, this is your roller coaster. We are just strapped in and ready to ride.
I started in 7th grade when I told my teacher I wanted to be a cartoon when I grew up, but that's the... And that's a true story. The teacher looked at me a little weird. No, back in 2007, I went to OSU for music, as a music major, and I decided to take an internship, and I was really interested in the radio station. And at the time, I was dabbling in a little bit of finding out about voice acting because it had interested me since I was young. And a lot of people on these open creative forums were creating their own little mini stories and little audio dramas and things like that. And when I was doing in my internship at the radio station, I said, hey, we've got a fund drive coming up. Heather and I, Heather Anderson, one of the membership directors over at the station, we both said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did a radio drama for the fund drive? And so we toiled endlessly on creating a script and putting it all together and mixing it all the week of the fund drive, and it was a nightmare. I don't think I got any sleep at all, but it was a lot of fun, and we got a bunch of positive response from it. So like a year or two later, I went to Dan Michalko, who's the station manager. I said, hey, could we do this some more? And he's like, yes, let's do this some more. So and that's how it all started, really.
Wow, it's so cool because it seems like that the genre goes back to radio days, when that was the primary source of entertainment, and it's neat that it's come back in this very high-tech format.
Yeah, now that we've gotten so reconnected to audio with the iPods and the smartphones, that we can't live without anymore. Everybody's downloading podcasts. Everybody's listening to more audiobooks now because nobody has the time to read, but they'll listen to something in their car. And that's it's actually over the past 10 years or so, it's really seen a strong upswing of creative audio drama in the United States. I think that's from an observer standpoint. I can't say that with any certification, but just from watching the way things have developed over the years, definitely. And there's something about audio drama. It's an easier medium to work with if you want to create an original story. If you are a scriptwriter and you want to create a film, or you want to bring a story onto the theater stage, you got to find somebody to produce it for you, or you need to be able to raise the funds. But with an audio drama, if you've got a computer and you've got the time, even if you don't have the money, if you've got the time, you can build it on your own or find people to help you build it and bring that story to life.
That's a really good point, and I'm interested in that as a teacher, and maybe Nick can talk to that too. I would think that might be something teachers could give to their students as projects, to build a small audio drama, low scale, either as a group project or even little individual pieces, and not have it be too overwhelming for them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, it's a good opportunity also to build bridges within between departments in the school. We used to do some of this over at Fort Hays campus. It's hard getting a hold of people, me not actually being in the system, but working with, say, get a hold of the writing program, say, hey, do you guys want to write a short story? We can put together this story, and then the actors in theater classes could learn to produce it. And if you happen to have a recording arts program like Fort Hays does, we've been using the recording arts program to allow the students to record and sometimes mix the stories that we produce from our script writing competition we hold every year. And so they get to go in the studio and they record all of us acting, and it's a different experience for them, not just having to do bands all the time. It gives them a different angle, and they're really interested in doing that and the sound design especially.
And you've done some writing of these scripts too, right? I mean, you're not just on the producing end as far as putting the sounds together, making it sound good, casting, getting the good work out of voice actors. You've actually written some of this too. Am I right, or am I dreaming that?
You used the key word there, dreaming, and I'll explain that in a second. I did write for a while. I'm trying to get back on the horse with that one. Mostly doing production and casting and keeping MAT running is kind of narrowed down my availability to work on my stories. But we did the series for the radio station, which was called The Adventures of Radio Man. If you happen to find it somewhere in the internet, that is the wonders of the World Wide Web, congratulations, but you're in for a world of hurt, because it was it was something special.
Experimental. I think that's what we call it.
It was a starting point. The thing I put together was called Dreamcatcher, and it's we have the full first season completed. It was 9 episodes. I'm trying to work on the second season right now. I don't think anybody believes I'm never going to get there, but I'm still working on it.
I believe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it's that is still is labor of love. That started as as kind of heard the term coined as satellite audio drama, which basically, instead of having everybody together in one room recording, you send the script out to people on the web. They could be living anywhere, and they record the lines for you, and they send them back to you, and you might coach them for retakes, but otherwise you get all the lines back in by email, and you piece them together. I think it's
wow, that's got to be a big challenge.
That's
got to be a big challenge for you to produce, because I imagine everybody has like just who's close to the mic and how far they are, and the volume and pitch and background noise and all of that's got to be a challenge.
It requires extra coaching in that you set up an extra list of information of, hey, okay, I need this kind of format submitted with this number of takes, and please can you do X, Y, and Z for me when you do it, so it's kind of a little more streamlined. And in the past, what we do is we get together on Skype and we'd have group rehearsals online, which was helpful if we could find a time for everybody to meet, because it doesn't matter whether you live in town or you live halfway across the country. Everybody's got their own schedules. But it was fun and interesting sometimes, because when you're doing a satellite audio drama, it kind of forces you to push your acting chops a little bit, I think, because you have to imagine how everybody else is acting and what possibilities they would be using for their lines, and anticipate that in yours. So it's a lot of fun though. I have to say, I do appreciate having everybody in town for all the Midnight Audio Theater stuff. Has been really fun, actually.
One less variable and probably a little bit more chemistry. And
definitely.
You were a great Catherine, I don't think I even told you this, Nick. I did a one-woman show here, and I'd not done voice acting before. And there was a section I wanted myself recorded, because I'm just that big of a narcissist. One me on stage wasn't enough, so I needed a barrage of me's in my own head. Catherine made it happen. She was, I had written it, but I hadn't dug as deeply into the characters as she had. Such great work out of me. It was one of my favorite parts, was when that came on and people said, "That was all you?"
Mm-hmm. And that was all you. Yeah. That was all your talent right there. I just helped it along. That was really awesome.
You were massive help and really have a talent for bringing that out in folks. I mean, geez, if you could get it out of me, you could get that out of anybody. I asked about the writing aspect of it because I imagine that it's different than writing for the stage, different than writing for film, and you've sent out invites for people to submit scripts for you, and I think I wouldn't have the first clue as to how. It kind of blows my mind to think of it as I have no visual. And that my visual is created in the minds of the audience through whatever audio I put in there, and I'd love to hear if you've got tips for that other than just write well.
Well, an easy place to start is to start with they're looking more for like a theater script style as opposed to film. Just because if you're thinking in film, you're thinking of camera angles, and that will just make things more confusing in an audio drama. But the thing to look for in radio dramas, clarity of the script becomes key, not just for the actors, but for the people who are going to be doing the sound mixing. So any kind of cues and whatnot need to be clearly marked. When you start out Oh, okay. The thing about audio dramas and radio dramas, I think there are a lot of different ways that you can really put them together to make them work. I can just tell you what I do. Pretty much, starting with the script, I'll kind of like write some sort of general overview, either of like the background information or knowledge that I think the actors might need. Especially if it's a satellite audio drama, so they know where to pull their visuals from, to kind of give them a feel for the setting. Description of background information does help to get the actors, in the mindset of where they need to be, and then just you don't really have to think about movement unless it's unless it's like an integral part of the story. You don't want to mark out it's just like theater. You don't want to mark out every single action that takes place. You want to give the actor some leeway to play. I do find putting in more emotional descriptions for their lines sometimes helps if it's a satellite audio drama, because they don't know how they're supposed to take a line without coaching. Otherwise, like theater, will try to leave that open for them to determine what they want to do, so we can play in rehearsal. There are a lot of similarities between theater scripts and radio scripts. I've got some links somewhere. I can send them to you in a little bit, or I can make sure they're up on the Midnight Audio Theater website. People can go look at those if they think that will help. Does that help? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. I loved what you said about how you'd have to put in the emotional sort of flavor of a line, because I'm thinking, yeah, you would, because normally in a stage script you would have the action would tell you that, she slams down the cup or stands up angrily, right? And you'd be like, well, she must be angry, but you wouldn't have that that cue in the audio script, so you'd have to just say you're angry here.
Yeah, it's like you can have a sound effect of slams down cup for the mixer, but like you just said, it doesn't really tell the actor if it was angry, if it was nervous, if they were anxious. It could be any number of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that, and I think you don't recognize how much sound can create a landscape in your head until you hear really good radio drama.
And that's actually the two key things that I think kind of makes or breaks a story sometimes for audio drama are all the sounds that aren't lines, especially from actors. I'm thinking of what I call audibles, which are basically like vocalizations that you would otherwise make if you were doing a physical action. So, like fighting,
Brilliant.
even something as simple as slamming down the cup. If you were really upset.
Yeah.
If somebody sprays water in your face, you're gonna spit and you're gonna spit a little bit because it's been getting in your eyes and can't see and do anything, and that kind of extra sparkle, if you will, put on the actor's performance not only helps them in their portrayal, but it also really helps the audience like kind of tie the acting with the sound effects together. It creates a more cohesive picture.
Yeah, that's terrific. Nick, have you guys played with that at all in your classroom, or?
We in our technical theater classes, they have to create a soundscape and blend a series of sounds together. So maybe it's sunrise on a farm, or it's a battle, or it's pulling in a whole variety of different things. So for that, we use Audacity. We've used that for a long time because that's a open source audio editor, and so we've done that. We also have in our English classes, we have the This I Believe project that they do, which, I'm always trying to find. We have Chromebooks, so it's trying to find the best thing that'll work for that, and I keep on searching, and I think I finally found the right one, and it's called Soundtrap. So Soundtrap, and it gives you that multi-layer editing, so you can record your audio. You can use the loops, kind of like GarageBand or however that works, and or add in those tie-ins at the beginning and ending of stuff. Or if you're describing a locale, then you can add that in there. So those are ones, and then Twisted Wave's another. Yeah. TwistedWave.com is another one that's great to record audio on, but that's just one track.
Yeah, my kids made really simple, because their teacher only knew really simple, sort of audiobook stories. They wrote a sequel to, actually, it's not really a sequel. It's a little short story that was in their textbook called Duffy's Jacket. And they rewrote it from another character's point of view, and it's got chase scenes and monsters and lots of slamming doors and screaming and stuff. So they had lots of fun, and some of them went and found online open source and free sound bites that they could put together. But the ones that were really fun were the ones that employed their parents and did like old school Foleys, where they took the coconuts and put their. One kid he said he went out into his yard and recorded himself walking and running and panting and doing all of that. So it makes me want to revisit that, talking with you, Catherine, and maybe think of the script more carefully, because they really didn't script that part. They wrote their stories and then they jumped right to producing it. Maybe a script with being more thoughtful would have been
including those type of things in there. And I know it's always a challenge, and I'm sure it becomes much easier the more you do it. But I think I want to say 4 or 5 years ago we did Our Town. And I was working with one of our students, and we needed the chickens. Not David. And I don't know what he did, but it sounded like they were drowned chickens. I was like, we need to redo this, because it sounds like the chickens are drowning.
Yeah.
I hope he found that sound. It didn't actually do Foley.
No, I mean, it's supposed to just sound like chickens clucking, but whatever he did to the chickens wake up.
Yeah, it seems like good sound in a live show is seamless, and you don't recognize it. You don't even notice.
It's so hard to find stuff.
Bad sound takes you right out.
I will say that I've been lucky enough. There's a company called DigitalJuice.com. And every now and then they have sales, though I think they've kind of phased out. But they have 3 series of sound effects, each with 10,000 each. So I have 3 of the 4 of them, so I have 30,000. But some of that's theater applicable. It's I mean, it's still a ton, but some of it's very commercial in its nature. But so I'll go to there for my first looks. But it's trying to find all that type of stuff. And
I have that. It's called Catherine Rinella.
You only have that because I've got a whole bunch of collections.
I go, Kath.
Yeah, it's if you could find a good collection with a lot of variety of sounds. If you don't have the time to Foley, that's a huge help, and not like the one CD of 25 sounds of cars and then one of the shoreline, and that's it.
Right.
If there's if anybody's interested and they want to use a lot of sound effects, they think they're going to do like a full year thing. I use SoundSnap a lot, which is a bit more. It used to be free. It's not anymore. You pay a subscription, and you do like so many sounds, or you can do a full year. It's not cheap if you want to do the full year, but it's updated. It's always online. You can get on and search for any number of keywords, and it'll drop a whole bunch of different results that you can check on and download. There's also there's Sound Dogs. There's I think the Free Sound or the Free Sound project is what you were talking about before. Maybe one of those databases, which is a very good one. I know a lot of audio producers will use them. If you're looking for music, I know. Oh my gosh, how could I forget the name?
Line.
No, there's a site called incompetech.com, and they have a lot of this one guy has done a massive number of soundtracks that he's composed, and he has them available for free for download, as long as you give it a Creative Commons credit, and if you would like to give him a donation, would always certainly appreciate it. But he's got a lot of stuff, and it's an easy place to start if you're looking for music, for something that's going outside your personal circle or whatnot. If you think it's going to be heard by a lot of people, and you don't want to mix your own.
Man,
but
always
people interested in that.
Yeah, I think so. I think theater companies that are listening right now should be jotting that down. What was it called?
Incompetech.com. It's like incompetent, but Incompetech.
I like it. I like that. I like that. He's got my sense of humor.
Those are
we'll put that in the show notes for peeps if they're.
Yeah, I'm putting it in there. Chris.
There you go. Those are the main resources I use when it comes to mixing. But it like your students did, a huge resource is relatives who don't have a lot to do.
Yeah, I had all kinds of parents calling me saying, "Wow, this changed our family dynamic at dinner quite a bit."
Oh, I bet.
I think they liked it. I like to think they enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's in that way it can be a very fun activity for people to get together to work on, and that definitely is a fun thing that classes might want to think about too. The more groups of the more classes and the more people that want to put together these stories and audio dramas, the better. We have a script writing competition at Midnight Audio Theater. I would run more often if I could scrape up the time, and we run it. Usually, you can see it. Sorry, I drew a blank. The competition will start around December, and it'll go. We usually have it open for a month or a month and a half for submissions, and we'll receive as many as people send in. We really don't hold any restrictions as long as it's appropriate to go on air. So we have to, even though we're at midnight on NPR, we're on a school campus. We want to kind of make sure we're going under some FCC guidelines with the language.
So what I'm hearing is no nudity.
Yeah, no sex scenes, probably a bad thing.
That was a joke. See, on radio. So, for those at home who missed that was a really bad joke. All right.
If you want to write it in the nude, I don't care. That's your own business.
Please leave that out of the bio.
Yeah, just don't let me know.
Well, if I write one now, I'm going to say, I dedicate this to Catherine, and yes, I was naked when I wrote it.
I hope you do. I really hope you do.
Consider it done.
But with our competition, that's as long as you keep it under the page length limit that we've got, which last year was no more than 15 or 20 pages. I'd have to go back and revisit. With audio dramas, roughly each page is a minute. By the time you sorted out sound effects and actions and people, so we don't want them to be epically long, 40-minute, 60-minute long pieces, because we will produce the winners of the script writing competition. We like to that's our community work with trying to bring people in Columbus into the audio drama portion is getting actors. We hold auditions with Actors Theatre at their auditions in February, and we will have the number of scripts that have won for that year. We'll have excerpts from them, and it's just like a regular theater audition, except we're looking more for your voice and for your delivery. And if you're able to do not multiple voices, but voices other than your own, more into the voice acting portion, if you can do a 10-year-old kid, or if you can do a 70-year-old grandmother.
A chipmunk?
Or a chipmunk, yes.
Yeah, that's... I can do a chipmunk.
You are my speed dial. If I need a chipmunk, I'm coming to you, because...
It's a niche. It's a niche.
It is. It's a special talent.
I can also do a freakishly realistic baby cry. Those are my two talents. Those are my two talents. So.
That's awesome.
Those are on my acting resume, because that's, I'm always hoping someone will ask.
And sometimes they might be looking for them. That's what you got to do. Is like if you're going into voice acting and you want to put together a demo reel. If you got something that's very unique that might somebody might need, that's always helpful to have.
I've got a gun with 2 bullets. A chipmunk bullet. A freakishly realistic baby cry bullet. That's right.
Catherine, you were just touching on voice acting. What if that's something that someone wants to go into? What is the process? I guess, and with the kind of where we're at, you don't maybe even have to go in anymore. You know what I'm saying? At least that initial...
Yeah, that's the loaded question. How to get into voice acting, because the people who are really established in voice acting and have the really good gigs, they'll be happy to help you for a fee. Because, they've got the good gigs. They don't exactly want people encroaching on their turf. But there's a lot of voiceover work out there, and it's only getting to be more and more, actually, over the past few years. If you're looking to start and you don't have any, and you don't know, you don't have any background, you don't have any background experience in anything similar like radio or audio drama, things like that. Sometimes there'll be workshops. There are a lot of voice acting workshops around the country that you can go to. It's kind of like going to a convention. You pay a fee and you go through all these different training courses for like a day or two. It at least gets your feet wet, gets you into seeing what it's like from a full-on starting point, like a condensed starting point, I guess is what I'm saying. If you know that you just want to do voice acting and you want to be able to do a whole bunch of projects and practice as much as you can, there are a bunch of forums online, like the one that I mentioned before that I got started with. I went to Voice Acting Alliance, which is like any forum, it's got its own drama, but there's a lot of different opportunities to do projects for like original radio dramas and dubs of anime and like music video type things. It's a nice community to get started in and like play around with a few things without having any like commitment of being fired from a project, you know, that kind of thing. There are a lot of there are websites now that are good places to go if you think you're ready to start taking on paid projects, auditioning for projects. Voices.com, Voices123 are two of the big ones. Those two especially have pages and like downloadable information to help you kind of like learn more of your craft. Voices.com has a whole bunch of different options of, okay, you want to audition for these kinds of projects? Do you just want to audition for audiobooks? Do you want to do it for games? You can build your own profiles and things like that, and audition for X, Y, and Z. Sorry, I'm getting so worked up. I'm running out of breath and I can't breathe.
I think that's, oh man, that's a lot. You just are a great resource. I'm just looking at we're taking notes on for the show notes while you're talking. I'm just looking in this short amount of time. You've given so much help, so it's no one. You're allowed to breathe. That's okay.
Oh, good. One thing I will say about audio drama, or sorry, not audio drama, but voiceover and voice acting is if it's something you're looking to getting into professionally, you think it's something you really want to pursue, you want to do your research on how much commitment it takes, how much work it takes, because it is not an easy industry to make a full-time living out of. It's easy to do part-time occasionally, especially with online, the online databases essentially that you can audition at, but it's hard to make a full-time living out of it. You will eventually have to be committed to getting quality equipment for home. If you decide to record from home, your computer out of your laptop. No, the microphone out of your laptop is not going to be enough. Neither is the $15 Logitech microphone from Staples or Office Max. Right. You're going to want to invest some serious money in that. But don't do that until you've decided this is something you want to pursue more seriously. And
I would imagine have some inkling that you are good at, that you are hireable.
Yeah. And that leads me to the next point is, for the love of all that is holy, don't make a demo reel like 10 days after you started auditioning, or even like trying out, because this is the biggest problem that a lot of starters have, is they think, oh, I can do all these cool voices, I can make myself sound all cartoony, I'll do a demo reel right now, I'll record it at home and it'll be great. Most times it's awful and you don't know it, and I'm not trying to beat around the bush, but most times it's not very good. You record it on poor quality, it's rushed, but most of the time you're just not experienced enough. You don't have enough you've not really honed your
bullets
craft
in the gun.
Yeah.
So my chipmunk and my baby cry, just not enough. All right.
It's
all right.
You just want to make sure you've really honed your craft before you put together a demo reel, because as soon as you send that out, it's just like sending out a portfolio to a college. You want to make sure it's your best work. You don't want to half-ass it. Excuse my language. But that a lot of people think that they can just throw something together real quick, and that can really kill somebody's chances. And also, one more thing while I'm thinking about it, because I get this a lot. I have people come up to me and they say, hey, I've heard that you know, that you're in voiceover, you're voice acting, and someone's always, these people have always told me that I have a really good voice and I should go into voiceover. And that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to any of the producers out there. It doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. It matters what your acting ability is, because all kinds of voices can match all kinds of different products, characters, stories, what have you. But if you're not able to, excuse me, deliver either the feeling or emotion that goes with the line, or the actor's personality, or the portrayal of all like the whole of an audiobook and all its characters, you're not going to get any work. It doesn't matter what your voice sounds like if you don't have the acting chops to go with it. So definitely,
it's a whole different acting too. I'm such a physical actor.
Mm-hmm.
Working with you was a really delicious challenge, because all my bag of tricks didn't show up, it turns out. And it was really fun. It was back in the beginner mind for me to work with you. I had a blast with that. I know it was just one small project for you, but for me, I look back at that and think that was really fun.
Oh, I'm glad. I like working, especially with new actors who haven't done it before, because they get all excited and they get all nervous about, oh no, what do I do? What is this microphone in front of me? I'm scared.
Yeah,
that's all right. Probably the only time, and I'm sure a lot of theater teachers and directors out there will probably get mad when I say this, but it's the one time that I tell people in the recording studio, overact. And I'm sure you're probably never supposed to ever do that, but if you're doing an audio drama, especially if you're doing lines, because they can't see the physical acting, you have to overemphasize the vocals a little bit, just to get the extra emotion across, to get the extra action across, because you're taking what's usually a 3D art and you're condensing it down into one. You're going from all these different senses you take to experience theater, and you're condensing it right down to just one, which is sound. So.
Yeah, maybe that's what I loved so much. I never get told, you need to commit more to that. Danielle. You give me more? I'm like, oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, really.
I can do that.
Or see, that's what gets me in trouble, because when anybody asks me to act on stage, I just stand there. I can say the lines really well, but I'm looking around like, I don't know what my feet are supposed to.
She's a liar, everyone. She's a terrific actor on stage, too.
Oh, whatever.
Because honestly, how many people, when they're acting for you, it's voice acting, but I remember I was like sweating when I was done, because I was all over. It's not like you just sit and talk into the microphone, because to get that emotion, you have to, or at least I had to, get myself physically engaged.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. So, yeah, you're a dirty liar. Don't even listen to hurt people.
I think when you are doing audio acting, you can bring a lot of nuance that may get skipped over, like for the sake of being heard on stage, if that makes sense,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Whereas sometimes you've got two hats on when you're on stage. I must have my technique to project so I can be heard, and I must act and go after my objective and all that, and sometimes it's a battle, but with, you've got the really nice microphone, so it's not like you have to battle to be heard, and if you can't be heard by a really nice microphone, you're in the wrong business.
Right. Then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, it is, Nick. It's pure in a way. You don't have to worry about the little blue-haired ladies in the back.
Yeah, it's a little more intimate that way, and it's like you said, that's where it kind of becomes more like film, in that you don't have to do a stage whisper. You can do an actual whisper, and that'll still be okay.
Ooh. You got me thinking. Are there other? I'm thinking back to your audio drama now. Are there storylines or type of stories that set themselves up better for that kind of script? I mean, I imagine, like I said, I picked that one little story because there was a lot of action that I could imagine sounded soundy.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Trademarked.
Sorry, we're on the same wavelength. I think I think audio drama tends to lend itself a lot towards horror, because of the suspense element, not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, the not seeing it makes it scarier.
Yeah. I mean, think about War of the Worlds. Obviously, that's a big one. That's the first thing people think of when you say radio drama, and that used it so very well. A lot of you've got the old style noir, a lot of mystery type stuff where you've got that particular style lends itself to like half narration, half action, which works well in the audio drama. So if there's anything that you need to, you can't fully describe in action, you've got that Pulp Fiction narrative helping you along. And I see a lot of stuff in sci-fi and action, some comedy. I don't see a lot of romances. That's not
icky sounds.
Yeah. I don't really find a whole lot of like epic romantic dramas or anything like that. Because it's sound based, a lot of people go for things that involve a lot of sound engaging sound, rather. Although zombie...
Yeah, I guess only if they get bitten by zombies.
Yeah. Zombie stories are really popular right now. Yeah. Some sci-fi and post-apocalyptic stuff is popular right now. Just like in film trends. Yeah. Alter your imagination.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I think that's. Oops, sorry, that was sound that should not have been heard. I think that's. It's a lot to take in, but I think it's an untapped area. I hope theater teachers are listening. As you said, it's accessible.
And it's and even if you don't have a radio station to air it on, you've got online radio. You've got podcasts. You can totally find an outlet to share that with other people and get tips back and forth. There's also, if you're interested in hearing more, like you're looking for resources of examples, if you're an old-time radio person, there's a website called Old Time Radio. And it's basically a whole database of all the radio dramas back from the 40s and 50s. The classic suspense stories, the Lone Ranger stories, the superhero stories, all those good ones. Excuse me. And there's also a website called the Audio Drama Directory. And that hasn't been updated recently, I don't think. Some of the links are out of date, or the page, but the directory itself is a great source to find new original audio dramas that people pulled together. You can find a lot of different production groups through there, people who have been doing this for like 10, 20 years, putting together all sorts of original stories. So if you're just interested in hearing more, those two sources would be a great place to go. And of course, Midnight Audio Theater.
First stop. That should be. Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, there's just a lot of resources out there. Another one that I've kind of come across is LA Theater Works.
Yes, LA Theater Works is very good. I actually have yet to put on Midnight Audio Theater because um, at the time I couldn't download it off PRX because I didn't have a password. But they're very good if you want to take a listen. And they've got what? Oh, they've got all the bigwig
Yeah, they've got a lot
Hollywood
of
stars.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're interested in voice for animation, is I Know That Voice, which is a really interesting documentary um, about voices for animation and how that process works. A little bit of the history, a little bit, and you find out, like you were saying, it's once you get to that established level, it's like it feels like it's 10 people that do all the voices that we listen to.
There's like a big top 20 or 50 that have like all the big,
And then if you
all the
listen
big roles.
to commercials a lot, even though their faces aren't even seen, you have those more named actors that are taking over the voice work of some more that maybe tried and true that have done it for years and years. Like Nationwide is Julia Roberts. I'll hear Kiefer Sutherland does a couple of different ones. It's just interesting how I'm like, I know that voice, I know that voice. Which sometimes, I mean, it's good that they're recognizable, but as also, I'm sure, put someone else out of work.
Yeah. I say, but with audio growing as it is, at least there's people popping up with more stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much out there, but it is kind of just an interesting process of how that comes through. So, if people wanted to, do you have a favorite tech tip? Or favorite webs, or you've shared so many. Any others?
So I might have used up all of my favorite sources.
I like we used for the little stories, that audio stories that my kids told. They posted them on SoundCloud, which was fun because they got to comment on each other's there, and I feel like I could go back there and could have made like a weekly podcast of what each story. If I went and revisited that project, I think I would add a little bit more to it and maybe dole out their stories a little bit better instead of all in one plunk where they just listen to their own. I think maybe have it be a little broadcast on our school website and see how that would go.
If I actually, what might help with that. I haven't used it in a while, but Adobe has a script writing software in the cloud that's free to use, at least last I checked.
I'm not sure if it's free or not anymore, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think they had like a radio drama style.
There is a free downloadable one. It's called Celtics, CLTX.com. And that has radio drama as one of your choices.
Cool.
Oh. And then there's an iPad app, which isn't too expensive, like maybe $5-10. But you can use for all different types of production, from radio to film to TV to all different types of stuff that's out there.
Oh, cool.
And for software, if you're looking for something that's, I'm pretty sure it's a free download. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's actually available for Google Drive. FL Studio is a really nice piece of software. It's a bit more complicated than Audacity, but if you're looking to do some more complicated audio work and you've got the chops for it, that's a good place to start. It's a decent program. What else?
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks cool.
That's fun, and they've got free updates, I think, for as long as you've got the software, so you don't get bit in the butt when they change it 6 months later, like my audio conversion software just did.
Yeah, it seems like you just kind of got to get used to that as the regular.
Yeah.
If you're looking for more information, there's also there's a DVD series called That's Voiceover. If people are looking at the resource you just mentioned, Nick,
The LA.
LA Theater Works.
It was the documentary I mentioned.
Oh,
yeah.
I know that voice.
Right. Yeah. If people have looked at that and they decide they want to know more, checking out the That's Voiceover DVD series is pretty neat because it goes more in depth in the same documentary fashion. So, like, one will be just about dubbing, another one will be about voiceover, another about voice acting, that kind of thing too.
Cool. I think there's definitely a ton of resources out there, and it's great to have you help us find the best ones. And because I'm, just like anything, it seems like human beings are like, okay, there's a way to be made money off of it, whether it's good or not. We do it. And it's great that we have a resource like you to help us find the best places to go, the best tools to use, and kind of the best approach to it. So we really appreciate that. If people wanted to connect with you on the interwebs, what would be the best way for them to do that?
You can always email Midnight Audio Theater. The email for that is midnightaudiotheater@gmail.com. It's theater with an R-E.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Or you can just go to the Midnight Audio Theater website. You can leave a comment or message that way. I'm usually checking both of those on a daily basis, so if somebody has a question or emails, I should be able to get it.
And I wanted to mention to our listeners this week, if you have pets, or you have, a neighbor who has a pet and want to borrow, the people at PicMonkey reached out to us, and they're having, and you know how much I love PicMonkey. It's one of my favorite tools to use and mention a lot in my workshops that I do.
And thank you, by the way, for the new time sync, because now I'm addicted to it too. Stop fiddling.
But what you can do is, what they want you to do is upload a picture of your pet, and they have 3 different categories. They have the creepy canines, the scaredy cats,
nice,
and other beasts, birds, lizards, monkeys, you name it. And they're looking for the creatures with the most creative photos. So scare them, delight them.
Scare your pets.
Or make them say how cute. So what you can do is, they're going to be judged by an independent panel of photographers and pet owners, and 40% for creativity, 30% for PicMonkey Halloween effects, 20% for embodiment of the contest theme, and 10% for photo quality. And by doing that, you can get 1 grand prize winners will get a full year of PicMonkey Royale for free.
Ooh.
And depending on the category, they can get a GoPro Hero 3 with a fetch harness for creepy canines, or a 3-way mount for scaredy cats and other beasts.
Oh my gosh!
We'll get a year PicMonkey Royale and a $25 gift card for Petco. You need to put the hashtag of FrankenPet contest, and by posting that, and give them permission to reuse it. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm gonna get our dogs, and they have so many things for the Halloween category. It's unbelievable. You can make your pet a zombie. You can make your pet Dracula. You can make your pet Day of the Dead. Go with the brand new movie that's out there. So many different things that you can do and have fun with the photo contest.
Great. There goes all my free time.
We got till midnight on Halloween to get it in. So have fun and be a part of that fun contest.
Does it have to be your pet, or can you borrow somebody else's pet because you don't have one?
Listeners, we are not advocating that anybody steal.
I would suggest permission of whoever is the actual owner of the pet to take the picture. But after they find it's between you and the pet owner.
Our hands are clean.
But and I'll put a link that too in our show notes. But you just basically have to post the picture on social media with that hashtag, and you've got.
I am following that hashtag. I don't know if I have it in me to figure out what to do with that Nippy and Louie.
And Danielle will be going for the scaredy cats.
I'm gonna definitely follow that. That's going to be entertaining. But Catherine, thanks so much for joining us this week. It was really great to have you.
Not a problem. I was happy to be here. This is awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
and you're probably the best sounding guest we've ever had. Perfect, clear audio. Imagine.
That might be cheating in my case. Yeah,
sure. Your microphone is, definitely more than a $15 trip to the Logitech for Walmart. Probably 10 plus times the cost.
The dollar bin. Yeah.
Pardon me. Want to remind our listeners to check out all the other shows on EdReach. And Danielle, if people want to find you on the interwebs, how can they do that?
They can go to Twitter or Instagram at Ms. Filas, MSFILAS, or they can look at my blog, which is just about to have a post about a bunch of tech tips for parent-teacher conferences, keeping you sane during that fun time. And that's at edunerd.blogspot.com. What if they want you?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at edtech, the number 4, theater, RE, of course. Or on my blog, edtech, the number 4, theater.com. And give a little preview to next week's show. We have a connection that a friend of mine, Donnie Piercy, who's a GCT and was in my cohort in Sydney, a teacher from his school who does a lot of work with the Renaissance fairs and all that creativity and thinking on your feet and improving and holding a character while people may or may not be playing along with you. We're gonna have a lot of fun chatting with her. And stay tuned. Our friend Carla from Sydney had a hangout with her yesterday, and we're ramping up to make World Theater Day in March a really big online event. And just listen to stay tuned for more details to come, but excited to really connect the world as much as we can for that day. So just stay tuned and be sure to check out the other shows in EdReach. And great catching up with everyone, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.